Welcome back, nerds. This is Analese,
This is Rob.
and we are your nerd best friends.
Ryan Gosling, a puppet alien, and the end of life on Earth? Thumbs up.
Hey, nerds, do us a favor. Follows? Ugh, it's you again. Go ahead.
Hey nerds, do us a favor. Follow, subscribe, and share this episode with a fellow nerd. Help us grow the nerd herd. Now strap in, roll for initiative, and let's get nerdy.
I think I did that last episode too. This is episode 102, and we give it a thumbs up, talking about Project Hail Mary. How you doing, Rob?
I am doing fantastic. I'm excited that we decided to talk about this movie. I had mentioned a few weeks back how excited I was to binge the book before opening weekend so I could go with a bunch of nerds to see the movie. I had an excellent time and a wonderful experience. And then here we are a few weeks later, a global phenomenon, the biggest movie in years.
It's pretty random how that happened, and maybe not so random because we always kind of catch on to things a little late, but in this case, we might have caught on to it at the right time. We definitely caught on to it right time with Dungeon Crawler Carl, because the week our episode came out is when they announced that they're making a live action show for Hulu.
Live action show
Or
for
Peacock,
Hulu,
I can't
and the
remember which.
comic book launched, and the
Yes.
role-playing game went
And the
on.
RPG launched, yeah, all around the time our episode. We're hardly ever at the top of it, but like it's been pretty
No,
fun.
These are new people. Like every episode is someone's first episode. At least they don't know that. We just like once again, nerd best friends on the cutting edge, the bleeding edge of nerddom.
I'm not gonna lie to our new listeners. No, this is great. I'm like, yeah, I think it's also part of the fact that we're doing weekly episodes now. It's allowed us to be a little bit more current, which is what we were hoping for. So this is right in alignment with our season goals, Rob. And I'm really excited.
All right, calm down.
I'm really excited to talk about Project Hail Mary with you. But first, we have some nerd mail. Okay, so it was either last episode or the episode before you unboxed some nerd mail from listener Los805, my brother Carlos, and he had sent you a bag of Kit Kat.
Strawberry cheesecake, weird Japanese Kit Kats. Couldn't be more excited.
And so what's funny is I was like, wow, he didn't send me anything. And then when we wrapped that recording session, I went outside and got my mail. And sure enough as can be, look what I got in the mail that same day. Weird.
Is that mint
Kit
chip
Kats.
ice cream Kit Kat?
Mint chocolate chip ice cream with Mandarin or something written on it. It's from Japan, so Japan is Japanese, not Mandarin. So here we go. I'm going to try one. I'm not a big
Carlos,
fan of mint chocolate chip ice cream.
See, I was going to say, Carlos, you got it backwards. Mint chocolate chip is my favorite flavor of ice cream. It's my go-to every time. Sometimes the mint chocolate chip is mint Oreo. My gosh, forget about it.
I'm not a big fan of mint ice cream, but I do like Andy's and York peppermint patties and stuff like that, which is still mint and chocolate, just without the ice cream. So here's what it looks like. It looks minty. It smells minty as soon as I open the package. You got chocolate on the bottom.
Full of crazy Eastern chemicals that we don't even know about.
This is really good.
Of course it is. It's a weird Japanese Kit Kat. They're amazing.
This is really good. I'm going to have to save you one, Rob, because...
Absolutely.
This is a delicious Kit Kat.
It's my favorite. It's my favorite flavor, man.
Well, this is actual physical nerd mail. Thank you, Carlos. I'll share it with Rob.
That is so awesome. I
gotta get the mint flavor out of my mouth, so talk for a minute.
We were driving around downtown LA last weekend, and there was one of these like shops. It was like exotic candy, which was funny because at first, like, it was downtown LA, so I thought it was going to say exotic dancers, but it said exotic candy. And I was like, oh, should we stop? I bet I could get some weird Japanese Kit Kats in there. But parking is parking, and we didn't.
Parking in LA is parking in LA. Good stuff. Thank you for that, nerd mail. And feel free to send us more things to try on the podcast, friends.
That might have to be a thing. We'll have to get a P.O. box or something so we can actually take physical mail.
You want to send us something, write us podcast@nerdbestfriends.com. We'll get you a place to send. Otherwise, thank you for that nerd trial, and we'll have fun with it.
For real, you have to put one of those in your refrigerator for me. I need a mint chocolate chip ice cream Kit Kat.
They've been in the refrigerator because it was a heat wave when we were recording last, and so they were super melty. They had been in the mailbox since Friday evening. I guess neither me or Sarah got the mail, so I pick it up and I'm like, it's going in the fridge. So it's been in the fridge.
Mine was
ever
a little melty too. In fact, a couple of them I couldn't break them apart because they like all coagulated into one. Doesn't matter. Flavor locked in.
You know what was delicious? And I didn't even know this existed. I tried dark chocolate Kit Kats. They are good. I'll tell more about
My
that story
family,
later.
I'm a milk chocolate guy, but the rest of my family, it's dark chocolate all the time. Dark chocolate or nothing. And I had not seen dark chocolate Kit Kats.
I'd never seen it before either. It was delicious. And I'm a much bigger I used to be milk chocolate, like nothing else but milk chocolate. But as I've aged, milk chocolate and the mint or peppermint flavor. I was actually just talking about this with my sister, how I don't want to get into the nerdiest thing I did this week too much, but essentially I had this big bowl of Andes in front of me and I was grabbing a fistful of them. And my sister's like, "You remember when dad used to do that?" And I was like, "Yeah, I used to be like, why? They're gross." And she's like, "Yeah, they were so disgusting when we were kids, but now I can't get enough Andes or York
There you
peppermint
go.
patties." But it's a dark chocolate thing too, as I've aged.
We are, see, and we are the same person. And maybe we're all the same person because I too have just gotten old and become my father.
Bit by bit by bit, it's like, all right, I get it now,
Yeah,
Dad. I get it now.
yeah, exactly. It's like we always made fun of like, God, dads are so weird. And now here we are.
Yep. 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 Hey, send in your deep thoughts, nerd questions, or talk nerdy subjects that you'd like us to cover by sliding our DMs or send those topics or requests to send us actual things to try on the podcast. The email address is podcast@nerdbestfriends.com. Let's talk Project Hail Mary. The
Yes, we
movie,
are talking primarily about the movie, but we
yes.
can't talk about the movie without mentioning the book. So that's
Yes.
going to happen.
So this isn't quite a read first or watch first because I haven't read it yet. I broke that rule, which typically I try to read things before I go see it. But I was like, when a movie is good and supposed to be good and everyone is saying it's good, I want to go spend the money at the theater to support it. So we just went and saw it. We usually start with a synopsis, which I forgot to pull up. So
While you're pulling that up, yeah, I had mentioned if you didn't get a chance to listen to the episode a couple weeks ago, I was the same thing because I was been an Andy Weir fan. I really liked The Martian, and I had a great experience with that book. People telling me, "Oh, this is such a great book. This is such a great book. They're making a movie." That I took my time. I read The Martian, loved it. The movie came out, Matt Damon eating his poop potatoes. It was amazing. Like, totally loved it. So I had heard about this movie coming out, of course, as well, being in that thing. And it was like, okay, yeah, I'll get to that. Just the kind of same thing as whatever. But then there was this group starting to get together. There was a couple of listeners and it was their friends and their friends. And we were going to get this big group. It's like, oh yeah, we're getting like 13, 15 people. We're going to go down to like the big IMAX theater down south and do the whole thing. I'm like, I got to read this book. So I binge listened to it over a week. Wasn't bad. It's like a little over 8 hours of audiobook. And I got it done. I like finished it that morning before we went to the movie. And I was super glad I did.
yeah.
All right. What do you got?
All right, synopsis of the film. It is a sci-fi film based on Andy Weir's novel, starring Ryan Gosling as Ryland Grace, a teacher turned astronaut. Teacher turned astronaut from a coma with it. Waking from a coma with an amnesia, Grace discovers he is on a desperate one-way mission to save Earth from a solar-eating organism, aided by an unexpected alien ally named Rocky. So that's the basic premise of the film.
Now, that's the basic premise of the film, but we need to give people, or you need to give me a warning. Is this spoilers? Are we doing a movie and story review? Are we talking about it from top to bottom?
In depth. There are spoilers. So if you have
Okay.
not watched or read and want things to be a surprise, I recommend you hit pause, go to last week's episode and read the book, go see the movie, and then come back to it. Or if you don't care about knowing the things before you go see or read.
Yeah,
Then
there's
keep listening.
definitely something to that. Like some people like spoilers. They're like, oh, you know what? I wasn't going to see this movie, but I listened to my nerd best friends talking about how great it was. And now I know what to expect, I actually really want to see it. Like that's definitely a thing. Right.
Yeah.
So
And I knew
up to you.
nothing. I knew
Okay.
nothing other than the idea that it's a Hail Mary because the advertisement trailer I had seen is the moment when he's Ryan Gosling's character Grace learning why they're calling it Project Hail Mary because it's a last ditch effort to save Earth. So I knew basically that he was in some sort of thing as a last ditch effort to save Earth.
Yeah, so I was in that same, even though I saw it, I think opening weekend, like I was still seeing commercials for it and stuff like during sports and things like that, where I watch commercials, and it was actually kind of a bummer. It had somewhat deterred me from wanting to see it because I had heard like, oh, you got to read Project Hail Mary. It's another Andy Weir book. So I'm thinking The Martian, which is like a hard science fiction survival story.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm like in that mindset of like, oh, this is like capital S, capital F sci-fi kind of thing. And then I saw the commercials for it and it was Ryan Gosling and it was like this little cute rock alien thing. And I'm like, well, that doesn't seem good. I don't know
Right.
about that.
That almost deterred me as well. I'm like, "Oh, is this a kids sci-fi movie? Like, is this a
Right.
family friendly? He's got a cute little rock mascot thing." Like, yeah, that also almost got me to not see it too. It was very confusing, those commercials.
Yes. And so there is that part of it. It was one of those things where it was like, so then I read the book or I listened to the book and in my head, I'm seeing Ryan Gosling and I'm seeing the cute little rock puppet
Yeah.
at the
Yeah.
whole time, which was fine. But it's one of those things where it's like I talked to other people who read the book and they were saying like, oh, like because of the way they set up the introduction of Rocky and how they do make it like it's very ominous and scary to be alone in space with dead bodies on your ship and you look out the window and there's another ship and it's 1,000 times bigger than yours and it's all quiet. You don't know what to expect. Like in the movie, they do even like a jump scare at that
Yes.
point of the introduction. And the book leans into that as well. So people who hadn't just read the book were telling me, I pictured this as bigger, scarier, more spider-like,
Yeah.
scary rock thing
Yeah.
that kind of turned soft because of the way they do like the computer voice interaction and stuff like that. But never did they think like, oh, it's a cute little Muppet.
Right. I
Where
also
me,
read
I was
that.
thinking that the whole time.
Right, yeah. I read some comments on Threads, on our Threads account, about how the animation or CGI of the Rocky in the movie was really close to how they imagined it. But yes, a bit more scarier because the book can't give you that visual depiction like you and I have going into it this
Right.
way.
Yeah, we had it in our
Yeah.
heads the first time, but fantastic job.
Yeah, so
Um,
let's talk about the film a little bit. Like, what are your thoughts, or maybe a favorite moment, or not like anything
so
you didn't like about it?
like I said, like it is different. This is one of those things where it's like I knew The Martian, so that's what I was expecting. And this is a different kind of story. This is a feel good, inspirational love story in science fiction is what I really came away with. It was like the last one was a survival story. This one is a love story. And it's a non-romantic love story. It's definitely like that bromance kind of buddy cop almost feel to it, but done just in a fantastic way. Yeah, it's exactly what we need. It's a very well made movie. It's got incredible visuals. It's well written, but it's also very positive. I mean, it's a disaster film at some points, but it is it's very positive that you know everything in space. Well, everything in space is trying to kill you, but not everything is scary, and we need to go to war with it and shoot it with laser guns, pew pew. Right? It's a
Right,
lot
right, right,
more.
right.
You're not so different than I am kind of story, right? Which I think is
Right.
really cool.
Well, they end up kind of both being the scientists on their ship, right? Like that's something they have in common, that for some reason they both survived whatever killed everyone else on their ship, and they use their combined knowledge together to figure out how to try to save both. They try to save each other, right? That's the whole idea behind it. I
Yeah, they
appreciated is
recognize that they're both having the same problem and they
yeah,
recognize that they both have different skills, right? So they're both on this vessel, but Grace is there because he has a lot of knowledge about the astrophage and about like the scientific method and how he's done that, where Rocky is the ship's builder. He's like the mechanic, the engineer, so he can actually like make stuff and do those
right.
kinds of things. So they complement each other in that way. One doesn't have the knowledge and one doesn't have the skill, but together they're able to move forward.
Yeah. What surprised me and what I enjoyed about this movie is how it unveiled Grace's presence there. Right.
Yes.
He wakes up in a bit of a coma, not knowing how long he's been out, and it leads to it being a significant long time because he's got long hair and a long beard. And he starts to remember as the story in the film progresses. And what I like about this is it's different than any other like disaster flick we can think of, like Independence Day, The Abyss, Armageddon, even though Armageddon's not an alien threat, right? All of these disaster movies are about people who make the ultimate sacrifice to save mankind, to save the earth, to save the world, to save the universe. You think of all these movies and there's a very clear cut, like, these are the good guys, these are the bad guys. Evidently, one of the good guys is going to have to make that ultimate sacrifice to make sure that everyone else is saved. This is not that. There is a global like concern about this amoeba that's eating the sun, what's going to kill all life on in our universe. But it becomes very clear that the people Grace is working for are also the bad guys. And the way that's all unveiled, where you get to that final scene, 3/4 of the movie, where they are like drugging him and forcing him to go, like, wow, the emotions of like he's stuck here doing this and he understands it's an unsurvivable mission and it wasn't his choice.
So, okay, spoilers
Yes.
be damned.
We
That
warned
is the
everybody. We
twist of the
warned
movie
everybody. Yeah.
and of the book. Is it starts in media res with him on the ship waking up from this like 3 or 5 year coma that it took for them to get to this other star. So this amoeba, they call it the astrophase, is eating the sun, basically sucking all of the energy out of the sun and causing this global cooling. And they discovered that that's happening all over the galaxy. They can find other stars where the same thing is happening, but they look and they find one star that has planets around it where that's not happening. So that's kind of the Hail Mary, like hope, hope and pray and launch is we got to get out there to this star and figure out what's different about that solar system than any of the others so that we can make an informed decision about what we can do. And so through these flashbacks in both the movie and the book do this same thing where they do these flashbacks to Earth. So you get this idea of what's happening. We have an unreliable narrator situation because when Grace wakes up and he's figuring this out, he's just making these logical leaps of like, oh, I must be some kind of scientist. I must be on this mission. I'm reading the logs. I understand the problem. This is a one-way trip. He's like unfolding all of this with us, the reader and the audience member. And as we get to the end and he starts remembering more and more about what happened and his memory is recovering, we find out that he chickened out. He was a coward in the end. Like through the flashbacks, he's like, I'm not an astronaut. What are you talking about? I can't do this. This is nuts. And then you find out like he never came around and decided to be the hero and make that sacrifice. They were like, no, we trust you'll figure it out when you get there. They drugged him purposefully with this like, I don't know, like French CIA
Yeah, something.
interrogation drug
Yeah.
so that he would recover his memories slowly and just launched him in there. And then, turns out like the very strict, lady running all of this stuff was right. He did rise to the occasion and he did make it happen. But that's a huge reveal because you're falling in love with this character throughout
Yeah.
the entire story. And then at the end, you have to have this realization of like, this dude isn't like there's a
He's
twist
not a
there.
hero.
And
Yeah.
it's very real and it's very there's another world where they would not have had the courage to do that, right? Because the good guy has to be the good guy,
Right.
has to be the action hero like the whole time. And it's like, no, you get to the movie and like we think there's a happy ending, maybe, right? He does the thing, but you're left with the idea of like, oh, how very human it was that he actually, he wasn't a big action movie star.
He was not the Bruce Willis, right? Like, I'm going to go launch my craft into the asteroid to make sure everybody else lives. But
That's the
just,
same, and that's as a theme too, because it's the same in The Martian. The Martian, especially the book, really leans into this person being a very intelligent engineer and trying to figure out how to survive. But not to spoil it, but you have a comment on here of like, it felt a lot like a MacGyver episode, right?
it did. It
It's
was so
like,
cool.
yeah, and that's how The Martian is. The Martian really leans into that. It's like, these aren't action heroes, right? These are
Yeah.
scientists.
Yeah. I loved that part, like early on as he's trying to figure out where he is, what he can do. Does he have enough to even like complete the mission before he remembers that he was forced into the mission? He's figuring all that out. And then you get this idea. I mean, the doom was really there. I think they did a good job in the film really selling the fact that he's not going home and he's accepted it. And he knows he can still save. He could save the universe. And he's using his scientific skills. And it's actually his friendship with Rocky that helps him realize there's a way they can both make it back home and save their collective, worlds. But that doom is there. Like it's the pit of your stomach for a very long time. And then they hit you over the head with the fact that he was drugged and forced into it. It's like, it's devastating. But before all of that, before he gets to all that, very early on, when he's figuring out how to eat and he's figuring out how to move amongst the ship and when to use the zero gravity and when he's forced into it and how to conserve fuel, like he's figuring all that out. All of it felt like a one long MacGyver episode. It was really nerdy in that.
If you loved that part of it, you'll love the book, because the
Good.
book is
Okay.
a lot of, like, oh, this isn't working. Like, because he doesn't know how to fly the ship, and he doesn't know all of the things that he's supposed to be doing there. So figuring that out is really cool. And then from the other side too, because you have Rocky the alien and he's the engineer. So he's the one making all of this stuff. They are an alien race of 3D printers. It's incredible. I'm there the whole time like, he's 3D printing everything. This is amazing. The whole civilization revolves around 3D printing. This is amazing.
I love the ongoing joke, speaking of him not being a pilot, not being an astronaut, the ongoing joke of him trying to sit in that throne and it going, pilot, detective, nope, nope. And he has to get out of it. And at one point, he's got to strap into the seat because something's happening. I don't remember what part, but he has to like keep his butt off the thing so it doesn't go to pilot mode and it stays in autopilot mode. Like that running joke with him, like just nope, I can't sit here, is really great.
Yeah. There's some incredible moments of like real peril and danger that happen throughout this journey that are just gut wrenching, both in the book and the movie. They're like tear jerker moments of adventure, which is different than a lot of like space cowboy movies where you're like, wow, look at this cool adventure like fight scene. It's not, because the stakes are so real and they're so human and not that action hero. Like, you don't know if they're gonna be okay. They're just guys.
Right. And they give you that little bit of hope. I don't want to spoil the ending, but like they give you that little bit of hope and then turn it around in the last 20 minutes of the film too. Like they figured out the math.
Yes.
Rocky's like, I can give you this much so you can make it home. It will just take me a little bit longer to get home myself. They figure it all out together. They get what they need to take back to their collective places. Both of them, it's going to take 4 or 5 years to get back to their home bases. And a short way through that journey, Ryan Gosling's scientist figures something out. So you land on this, like, he's going to be okay. He's going to be able to go home. And then now he's in the point where the ultimate sacrifice is it's themed in a different way than typical.
Yes.
Yeah,
And that was
really
another
good.
thing, like, again, just tearjerker moment, grab you by the heart in the book. And I really did. Watching the movie, I was like, are they gonna do it? Are they really gonna tell the full story? And they did, and I couldn't have been more thrilled.
Oh, good. What about anything else about your thoughts on the film? Anything else you want to bring up? Some favorite moments?
I think the other thing that I wanted to bring up was this whole story and movie, especially the film, hinges on the voice acting of the Rocky alien and the way that they did that through the computer interface and stuff like that. The writing is great. Like all of that kind of like, gosh, like the pithiness and the humor and comedy definitely come through in the book. But if that isn't just absolutely nailed in the voice acting, like it's gotta be perfect. Or otherwise it's not so funny, or it's mean, or it's whatever. And just an absolutely perfect job by I don't have the name handy, but I remember looking up the voice actor, and that person has not been in a lot of things. Like this is a newcomer, like as far as big Hollywood, blockbuster films, and like, my gosh, I think just killed it.
Yeah, you have to sound computer, but still warm and still have inflection, but it has to be believable inflection. It would make sense that it's
Never
a
do you think
newcomer
like,
and
well,
someone
that's not
who's
how
younger.
a computer would say it.
Right.
But at the same time,
Right.
that's not how a computer would say it.
Right. Yeah, good call on that one. Remind me a little bit of Jeff Hayes, which I did look up after we did the episode on Dungeon Crawler Carl. Jeff Hayes is the guy who does the audiobooks, and he's every single voice in those books, and it's really should be a master class in audiobooks. That's what it reminded me of. I don't think it's the same guy, but
It reminded me of The Mandalorian. Do you remember in like season 3 or season 2 when they rebuild the assassin robot and it becomes like a little mech that baby Grogu
yeah,
could be in it, and he has a
that's a
little
good
yes
call.
no button? Yes, no, like that. I was like, I bet you that's the same guy. Fun fact, the voice of the yes and no in Mandalorian, Taika Waititi. Yeah. Not Carlos, what's his name, who did the voice for this movie.
Wow, how funny. How about some pop culture-ness of this film? Representation of its popularity. When I wrote that in our script for this episode, I really was thinking about how this one, Scream 7, and there was one other that came out recently that are really starting to feel like more like the blockbuster, everyone's gonna go see it kind of deal that we haven't felt from movies in a while, I think, in a number
It
of years.
has been a while. I feel like, I mean, the whole Marvel explosion is over. It really hasn't been the same since Endgame,
Since the
right? And it was
pandemic,
like
yeah.
people kind of kept that excitement, but then they're like, this isn't that was lightning in a bottle, right? It's just not exactly what it is anymore. James Ortiz, by the way, is the voice of Rocky. I wanted to make sure that I
Good on
got
you,
it.
James.
Anyway, so, and maybe that's it. Maybe like enough time has gone by that like theaters are back, baby, but
But
I don't
not.
know, but not
It's
really.
happening with individual films. Like we grew up at a time, so pre-Marvel, pre-MCU, we grew up at a time where they had specific data, like market data and research that tells you here's peak times to release these types of films, and there was a whole science behind it, right? And part of that science was like you had your summer blockbusters were things like Independence Day and other movies like that would make people go to the theater in droves, and you heard about it and there were commercials about it. And it's the same Superman. Well, that is it's not a Marvel, it is a superhero film.
Yeah,
Last
it's an
summer
IP. It's a
Superman came
known
out.
IP, right?
Right. It was a thing before MCU was a thing, right? The same with Supergirl coming out. This summer's coming out in June. These are very purposeful releases. So here we have this like not I mean outside of that market research release in the late winter, nearly spring, that takes over our zeitgeist like this, it's saying that market research isn't as valuable anymore, but it's also saying that we're still capable of having really good films that make everybody pause and say, I'm going to the theater. And like I
Yeah.
said, this is one of them. Scream 7 was one of them. The opening weekend of Scream 7 was record breaking for horror films and for the franchise itself. Everyone went
And
to go see that movie.
and I think people are going to the movies like it's fun and it's a thing to do, but it's unironic. Or maybe you tell me. So I'm thinking about like if I'm looking at recent things that were like big and, explosive like this, there was the Minecraft movie, right? The Minecraft movie was this crazy thing where it's like, is this movie good? Doesn't matter. Every kid is going to it
Everyone's going to
every
go see it.
weekend
Yeah.
kind of thing. And then before that, there was the Barbie Oppenheimer Barbenheimer phenomenon,
Barbenheimer,
right? Which I felt like that might have been kind of tongue in cheek or like kind of ironic. But at the same time, they were good movies. So it's like, are we just looking for an excuse to get excited and go see movies and have a communal experience? Or is it, I don't know. It's
It
just,
could
it
be.
is.
It could be all of the things, right? The fact that there are movies that are coming out that are taking this pop culture notice, right? Everyone's talking about it's a water cooler thing, right? People are talking about which are you going to go see Barbie or Oppenheimer? Like to me, I was thinking that was the last time we had a real big blockbuster like this one. I think Superman was really close, but I think a lot of people were just really excited for the
I think Superman
Schneider
was kind
Superman.
of like an example of the old school thing, right? It was like,
Yeah,
oh, here's a
yeah, yeah,
known
yeah.
IP. It's going to be a good, like, bright, fun time. So lots of people are going to go see Superman,
Right.
but it's not like this. It's not like
No,
Barbie and
this is kind of like a random. It's not a known IP. It's a book, and it could have gone either direction. And it's long. It's over 2.5 hours long.
Right,
So
right.
that surprised me. I didn't realize it was that long. But yeah, I think our society or our culture as it is now wants these good movies. And so when there's a good movie, I think it shines a little bit more because it's surrounded by a whole lot of not. Right. And I love the movie going experience. So this weekend, I was like, let's go see. I mean, I have a Saturday morning off. We don't have D&D. Let me see if there's a good matinee. Nothing. I mean, there's a kids movie. So if we had little kids, the
I see what you're
Mario
saying.
Galaxy movie's out. But, there's a movie with Zendaya and Robert Pattinson that's like some rom-com called Danger or something like that. No, thank you. No, thank you. Like there isn't much out there. So the fact that that's the case. Sorry, give me a second.
So
The
there
fact that
are
that's the
people
case
who
is
will go see that movie, of course. Like there are people who really love movies, right? That love movies like I love 3D printing or whatever. And there's nice theaters out there. There's those programs where like you pay a subscription and you can just see as many movies in your theater as you want, right? So I would be looking forward to any of our listeners who are like real like movie heads. Like, no, I
yeah.
really like movies. I really like filmmaking. I go see a movie every week, like kind of thing, might have the perspective we need on like how come sometimes these movies that are like they're not Superman, they're not whatever, they're this book, but somehow they're really good, even though they're really long, but people are like going back and seeing it again. Like, what is happening there? Is it comparative? Are those movies you're seeing every week just kind of garbage? Or are they also really good and filmmaking is actually getting better after the pandemic and these kinds of things? I don't know.
I don't know
I'd be
either. It's
interested.
so hard to say because it's not consistent. We don't have that ebb and flow of when the blockbusters or the really good films or studios are saving the really good film for this time of the year. We don't have that. Like, it's like they're popping up randomly when they're good. But I will say what theaters are doing that's real interesting and I think helping the industry a little bit is I don't know about where you are, Rob, but where I am, the Regal Cinema is the one cinema in the city, and it's a decent one. It's okay. I like that. I've been to movies even early on, and I'm like the only one there. So it's really nice living in a small town like this. Like I saw I Know What You Did last summer. It was opening weekend, just like on the Sunday when it opened on Thursday night or whatever. We were the only ones in the theater. It was very lovely. But they do a subscription model. They do pay so much per month and you go to X amount of movies and then you get deals on the popcorn, which is we all know the snacks and concessions is where theaters make their money. So I think that's real interesting. And I wonder if that's driving some of this too. Who knows?
That might be driving it to like, yeah, that could be affecting the fact that like when you go to that weekend showing, it's not packed because
Yeah.
people
True.
are just kind of going all the time. And that thing, if that's being successful, yeah, I don't know. Again, we traveled out of town to see this because we wanted like the big IMAX theater with the big comfy leather seats and all that kind of stuff. And it was, I mean, it was packed. Packed, not like packed. That theater probably holds 150 people, and there were probably 100 people there, right? So
It was full,
it was full.
but not sold out.
Yeah.
I will say, in terms of pop culture, before I saw this movie, a very funny meme came by, and it was a still from the film. There is some point that Ryan Gosling is wearing that knitted like cardigan sweater.
Okay.
And
Yep.
he's sitting at that bar. I think it's like the karaoke scene or something. Like, it was one of those scenes where it's one of the before scenes, and he's sitting in this cardigan sweater, and he's got his reading glasses down, and he's like holding a book in front of him, and he's got his hand on his head, and I think he's watching the lady sing the karaoke scene,
Yeah.
and they
We're
put it
seen in the
side.
movie.
Yeah, they took a still of that and a side by side of Alec Baldwin in Beetlejuice holding a book,
Okay.
wearing a cardigan. Their hair is almost exactly the same, and he's got his glasses with all down on his nose and looking up at you. And it's like side by side. Ryan Gosling is now Alec Baldwin. It
I
is
got to see this
amazing.
meme.
I can't get it
Everybody
out of
send
my
this meme to
head.
Nerd Best Friends.
Yes, tag us on Nerd Best Friends. I've not been able to find it, but it was basically like, this is what women want to see in movies or something like that. From 30 years ago or 40 years ago, we have Alec Baldwin, and now we have his twin, Ryan Gosling, from teen Disney Mickey Mouse Club to this old man. I
There you
loved it. I
go.
can't get it out of my head. And the whole movie, I was just waiting for that scene to happen. I'm like, oh yeah, that's Alec Baldwin.
That's so funny. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So with the pop culture thing as well, I did an unofficial poll. I went to my son, who was a high school student, and was like, what are the kids saying about Project Hail Mary? And just kind of wondering, like, is it really more for old people? Because it's like, it's boring. It's about a guy in space who does science kind of thing. No, he says it's super popular. He says that tons of people he know are reading the book, either saw the movie and are now reading the book, or reading the book so that they could go see the movie. In fact, he hasn't seen it yet because he's waiting for his two buddies to finish reading the book so that they can go. And he said, he's like, the conversations around it are the like the love story portion of it. Like, oh my gosh, it's like this bromance that's like a really genuine love story. People are talking about the practical effects, right? Like most of the movie, Rocky is a puppet, and it's absolutely seamless as far as like, I can't tell when it's CGI and when it's not, kind of thing.
Same. Yeah.
They're talking about that, and like, but he's kind of a theater kid, so that would be kind of the
Yeah.
conversations him and his buddy
Sure.
would be having about
Yeah.
like about the practical effects and that kind of stuff. And then just the themes of optimism, right? So they're talking about like, this is a place where human ingenuity, hope, sacrifice for your, found family and best friends like exists in
Yep.
this story. Those real true friendships exist in this movie. And I was like, wow, this is the teens. Good for them.
Yeah, it's appealing to a wide variety of ages, and even though it's long and can get a little scientific, like I hear people took their younger kids to it too. It's got that cute little rock and it's a little funny, and Ryan
Yeah, I don't
Gosling,
know what
Ryan
age I
Gosling's
would
banter with
say
this guy.
it's
10,
for. Yeah, I
10
mean,
and
you
up.
could be a fifth or sixth grader probably, and like you got to know, like, hey, there's gonna be like at the beginning they're gonna make it like kind of scary because there's an alien, but don't let it fool you. It's
Yeah,
gonna be fine, kind of thing. I
yeah,
might give that warning to a little kid, but
for sure.
yeah, it's fantastic. And then, do you watch a lot of Ryan Gosling movies?
I do.
Okay, because people are
I love
saying
Ryan
like,
Gosling.
hey, what's that?
I said I love Ryan Gosling.
Okay, how do you feel his performance in this is? Because I
Uh,
feel like there's a lot of real acting happening in this movie.
he's surprisingly a really good actor, right? But
Yeah,
people like yourself who you might know him more from like his most famous roles, like The Notebook, which is it's
exactly.
not hard to be a romantic lead in a well-written story like The Notebook, right? But this is what I mean, he's got quite a range. There's a really good movie called Lars and the Real Girl where he plays a dude. They don't ever quite say what it is, but he's maybe autism spectrum. He's a little strange. He lives in an ADU at his brother's house, and he makes up a relationship with a mannequin. And because of his whatever's going on for him, everyone around him pretends like this mannequin is a real woman,
Mm,
and helps him get through some of the traumas. I mean, it's a really cute movie. You want to talk about acting chops? Like, you start to really feel for this guy and whatever it is he's going through, and his whatever. Like I said, they never quite define what it is he has, but he has something. And the way this town kind of centers around him to help him feel like a normal human being, it's just really touching. There's some films like that he's in. And I would say I think I said it. We were talking at the same time, but like some of his really funny interactions with Rocky is Ryan Gosling, Ryan Goslinging, right? Like
okay.
there's a way and a tempo and a timbre to his humor that you just expect if you see a lot of his films. But it's fitting as someone who teaches science because he's a failed scientist. So he has that wit and that humor that we know teachers must have to work with
Yeah.
middle school kids. It's done really well. But he's actually a really good actor. If you step outside of like the really pop culture things he's been in, he has
Okay.
some really good roles. And
Right
yeah,
on.
yeah,
There's
I
definitely a
expected that
couple
from
scenes.
him.
Oh, okay. There's a couple scenes where, he's crying. He has to do like a crying scene. And like, it's very, like, there's one in particular, and it's like just, even like the filming of it, it's like Ryan Gosling's face in the middle of the screen. And he's sitting there with his eyes all sparkly and the
It's all
tears coming
handsome
down like, oh,
crying.
yeah, that's the old Pepper. that's,
Yeah, it's a handsome
that's a,
crying, yes.
yeah, exactly. I was
Guilty,
like,
guilty,
oh,
right?
that's
I
romantic.
mean,
That's romantic comedy, Ryan Gosling right there.
yeah, I'm trying to remember. There's another film he was in that wasn't very popular, but he plays a teacher with a drug addiction. And it's real and it's hardcore and some of it's hard to watch, but it's really good. So the dude has some chops, but he gets kind of a bad rap because his most popular movies are like Remember the Titans, where he plays the
Yes.
scrub dude who really isn't a very good player and gives up his spot to an African American teammate. Like he's got those roles, but yeah, there's some out there, and this being one of them. When they cast him, I'm like, I know exactly. I mean, I didn't know exactly, but I know the personality that they want out of him for a movie like this, and he's gonna nail it. So, like, oh man, the scene where he hits his face.
Yeah.
My
That's
gosh, that
insane. Like that
yeah,
scene in the book and the movie is like I was talking about earlier. Like I don't know what's gonna happen. Like
yeah. I thought
yeah,
he was dead, and like Rocky
yeah.
was gonna have to like figure out. Yeah, I mean, it
And
was
then you think
bad.
Rocky's gonna be dead
Then you
because
think
Rocky
Rocky's
like
dead. Yeah,
he literally makes the ultimate sacrifice to go
yeah.
out and just
Yeah.
by
It's
heart.
so good. It is so good. But yeah, Ryan Gosling is he's really great in this, but he's also really great in a lot of things that people miss if you're not a fan of his.
Right on.
I mean, if you
Okay.
think about even as weird as it sounds, he nailed being Ken in the Barbie movie. Because that could have been done in a really cheesy manner. That could have been done very campy, but it
I
was
mean, it was
done
pretty
with,
campy,
I mean, yeah, but it was still done,
but on
it was still
purpose.
done with a genuineness
Yes. Yeah,
of
I'll give
knowing
you that.
exactly what his role was, right?
Yeah, I
So
mean, that movie didn't like it's like a funny thing. It's like that movie was a joke, but it didn't do so well because it wasn't good, right? It's like also good.
It's a great movie, that's the thing. Here's what I learned, actually didn't really notice this. The brilliance of his performance in that movie is very subtle, and you don't really capture it. And where I noticed it was when he performed I'm Just Ken at the Oscars that year. So I don't know if you
Mm,
watched that awards ceremony, but he's in a full pink suit, and he's sitting in the crowd right behind Margot Robbie, and behind him is Billie Eilish. And so he starts with a cowboy hat over his head, and he's got a mic, and he starts singing the opening line. And behind him, Billie Eilish is just covering her face and laughing her head off. And he lifts the hat up and he takes it off and he leans forward and he's singing those opening lines to Margot Robbie, and she just can't, she's beside herself laughing. And he makes this little face of like, I'm just, he's telepathing, I'm just a joke to these people, because that's the whole point of this song,
mm,
right? He makes
right.
this little like, it's like a little like no with his mouth closed, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's this little subtle movement that he knows exactly what this character thinks and feels. And then I went back and watched the Barbie movie, and all of those little subtle like facial expressions, because they're dolls. Like there's just this much bigger piece to how he performed that role that you don't quite catch unless you really look really carefully. Yeah. And so he
We
brings that same kind of effort into this film, because if you start to see there's these just little, just in how he reacts to Rocky is different than how he talks to himself or how he's in front of the camera that he knows is going to go back to Earth. I was like, these subtleties of understanding these characters that he's really good at. That's
Wow.
my Ryan Gosling rant.
I was gonna say we've opened up a new door on the podcast. And Ryan Gosling super fan, Annalise. I love it.
I don't know about super fan,
Okay.
but fan for sure. All right, so differences between the book and film. I put no spoilers in here, but I really meant like if it was so different from the book to not spoil it. But you've already kind of said like it's pretty exact and pretty close.
As far as the plot goes, it's the same. Like you're gonna get that
Okay.
same story. You're just gonna get a little bit more detail. Well, I would say where the book has, it's got the benefit of time to really unfold things is I got a better sense of the stakes on Earth through the book, because you see, like, it takes them a long time to figure out this Hail Mary mission, and it's kind of a last ditch effort. So before that, what was going on? And there's a whole nother like cast of characters and people that you meet as part of that organization that he's in. I'll give you two like really like fascinating examples as far as like, so there's this astrophage, this amoeba that is sucking out the sun, and they have to collect samples of it to study it. And through that, then they realize that it has all of this like potential energy in it. You basically can create nuclear power with these things. So then they have to figure out like, well, if we're going to go to this other planet, we need to like, the ship needs to be powered by this stuff, right? And we need to, continue to study it and all this stuff. So how are we going to make more? And so there's a scientist who figures out like how to create the astrophage and like how to manipulate it and all this stuff. But to make it on scale, they have to pave over like a third of the Sahara Desert, like literally changing the landscape of the planet.
What?
And yes. And so it's like, well, we can't do that. That's an ecological disaster. And it's like, we're in an ecological disaster. We're going to die.
If we don't do it, we die.
So like world governments come together. It's the biggest like public works project in the history of humanity. And they just basically turn half the Sierra Desert into a solar panel farm thing. So it's like, oh my God, that's crazy, right? There's another one like that where it's like, what caused, like we're in global cooling. Like pretty soon we're like the earth, like half the population is going to die by this time because of the cooling of the earth. And it's like, oh, isn't it crazy? Because we've been so worried about global warming and greenhouse gases. And it's like, well, there's a whole lot of greenhouse gases trapped under the ice in Antarctica. So they nuke Antarctica. Like they send submarines through the ocean and they launch nuclear warheads into Antarctica to explode all the glaciers and ice, releasing greenhouse gases into the atmosphere to buy Earth like 10 more years of global warming to like that kind of stuff is in the book. And so that's where the movie kind of lacks a little bit. They talk about it, but there isn't like a lot of show. Right? Like I feel like a scene of them nuking Antarctica or something, or a scene of them like the shot from space where you can look at like the continent of Africa and a big swath of it is blacked out because it's been completely paved over. Like things like that would really start showing that urgency and how like absolutely disastrous this is. That's the kind of stuff you get in the book that wasn't in the movie.
Okay. I'm excited. I'm excited. I think that's going to be next on my list to what I'm listening to right now. So,
Yeah.
but that takes us to, thanks to Dr. Intern Joan, we have these two questions that are now part of our zeitgeist on the podcast. Read first or watch first? I say it doesn't matter.
I think it's a great story. If you don't have time to read it and you want to go see it, absolutely just go see it. But I will say I really love the book. I would say the book is a 5 out of 5 and the movie is a 4.575 out of 5,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
You just do get that little bit of extra stakes and that little extra time in the book. So if you can do both, I think, I don't know, you go either way. I really enjoyed that I read the book first because it helped me understand what those stakes were. And like, it was kind of like, oh, are they going to do this way? Are they going to do that way? And then there was also that kind of part of like, oh no, are they going to ruin this ending because it's the movie version? And it's like, they don't. So you don't have to worry about that. just know that if you loved it in the book, you're going to love it in the movie. So yeah, you're right. It could go either way. But if you
This is a
have
really
the choice of the
rare
luxury,
one. Yeah, I think
if
it's a
you have
really
the choice
rare
of the
one.
luxury, read the book first. But again,
But if
if
not,
you love the movie, don't let that stop you from reading the book because you're just going to get more of what you already
like it. Now, is this a buy, borrow, or skip?
This is a buy for me. This is a buy on both. I bought the audiobook and I paid for my movie ticket. Not only that, I went to a fancy, gigantic screen IMAX thing to see it. This is absolutely rush right out in a buying frenzy for me.
I would say this is a definitely do not skip. And in terms of buy or borrow, I'm going to borrow the audiobook. I will probably buy a digital version of this film when it's available. So I'm a little bit of both, but definitely do not skip.
How about this? It is quite a spectacle. Is it worth, if you're somebody who doesn't go to the theaters a lot, is it worth plopping down the like tens and tens of dollars it's going to take to go see this movie? Or is it can you wait and watch it at home or wait and watch it on your phone kind of thing?
I think this is a see in the theaters. See
me
it on
too.
the big screen. Yeah, this is an experience, and I like the vastness. Even though we have big televisions at home, it's still not the same as that digitized movie screen. And seeing the vast when he's looking at Rocky's ship for the first time, or when he's looking out into Earth, or when he releases the bodies of the other two astronauts, like those are big, grand scenes that deserve to be seen on the film on the big screen.
And I would say even the tight scenes, like when he's in that pilot's chair and just seeing everything that he's surrounded by is also very impressive on the big screen to see how tight things are there.
Agreed. Go see it in the movies. Go see it in the theaters if it's still out wherever you are. All right.
Okay.
That being
That's
said,
us gushing about Project Hail Mary.
Yes. Buy, rent, borrow. It's a buy, rent, borrow, skip. Buy, rent, borrow, skip. I added
Buy,
rent,
rent,
buy,
borrow, or
skip.
steal. No. Wait.
Yeah. Anything but skip. All right. So let's go with coming back at it. What's the nerdiest thing you did this week?
Okay, the nerdiest thing I did this week. I want to make sure I didn't talk about this already. Did I talk about the Warhammer store anniversary?
I don't think so.
Okay. So Warhammer stores do this thing where they have an anniversary celebration every year or every 5 years, probably every year because it's a marketing scam. And they have all of these, like they have giveaways and they have special miniatures that you can only get that weekend, right? I'm pretty sure it's all the the special stuff travels to every store across the country on their anniversary. But either way, we're here for a good time. So our store that's about 50 miles away from me, it was having their anniversary weekend. So I was like, okay, cool. Like, what can I get there? And it's like, there's these 2 exclusive miniatures you can order. You can get like dice and you can get a plate, like a mat, like a neoprene, like game mat and stuff. That's all Warhammer themed and stuff. And I was like, okay, like that's pretty cool stuff. Like, that's great. And like, what do you have to do? Well, they're tiered based on how much money you spend at the store, of course. Right. And so I'm like, oh, well, that seems real scammy. I definitely am going to go in there 100% and spend a bunch of money.
I would have it no other way, best friend.
I was like, oh, that's like, you'd have to be some kind of sucker to get these cheesy freebies by spending that many hundreds of dollars.
That's me. I'm that
I'm
sucker.
in. So beforehand, I was like, okay, well, listen, I'm not gonna be a total idiot. I'm gonna go and do some research on like what are the best big box sets to get for your buddy. And of course, there's tons of YouTube videos of people like, all right, well, in this set, you get these models that on their own would cost this much money, but this is a good bundle, and you save about 20% on this. So I'm looking at those and I'm making my list of like, oh, well, that's a good deal, but I don't want to paint those guys. And oh, that's another better deal. I could see myself starting an army like that. Da, 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 and getting all that like worked out. And so then I go and I'm like, all right, Ryan, it's anniversary time. Let's go crazy. And I'm like, you guys have this box? No. Would you have this box? No. Do you have that box? Oh, no, we don't have that anymore. Oh, do you have this one? Oh, and I'm like, okay, I guess we're winging it. And I'm just like, what's the biggest, most expensive box you've got?
No.
And I'm like, cool. And I'd like all the freebies, please.
So you go there with a plan on things that you need and are helpful, and they don't have anything. So now they've bamboozled you to spend money on stuff that you had no plan to
Yes.
ever own.
Definitely could have just been like, oh, well, I guess it didn't work out this year, but it's like the sunk cost is here. I'm already here on anniversary day. I've got the money burning a hole in my pocket. I guess I'm just going for it.
What are the stats? How many minis did you bring in?
Shoot. It's definitely close to 100.
I thought you were going to say like 40.
No, my friend.
Ooh,
No,
boy.
my friend.
Boy.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I'm trying to think. I think that big box has like 68 in it. And then I got another box that had like 20 something in it.
And did you get the mini of the month while you were there too?
Of course, that was a different weekend. So I had to go back the next weekend and spend more money to get the mini of the month. But I did get the mini of the month. He's right here. I'm working on him.
Hey, look at that guy. Wow. Good for you. Happy Warhammer
No,
anniversary.
it was a real bad decision, but it was definitely the kind of decision a nerd makes.
That's great.
Yep. Annalise, what's the nerdiest thing you did this week?
Hey, so I had this really cool opportunity this past week, and it was really cool. And I don't even know how to start. I don't even know how to start talking about this.
I had this really cool thing. It was really
cool. Really cool. It's one of those once in a lifetime opportunities. And so so how can I do this the shortest way? My brother-in-law's sister, or my sister's sister-in-law,
There you go.
whichever way that sits in your head. She and her partner have had these like super exclusive VIP season tickets to the Sacramento Kings forever. My brother-in-law's from from Northern California, and his sister still lives nearby where they grew up, and they're fans of the Sacramento Kings. And so my sister brought it up once, like, oh, now that you live in Northern California, maybe, Heather will give us some tickets to a game sometime that they're not going to. And when I tell you this is like super VIP level access, my goodness, this is unlike anything you or I will ever experience. I got to do it this once, but even if we become like the 1% podcasters where we're making a living off of this, we still would not buy these tickets. I can't even imagine how much money this was. All right. So
this is like .com boom money, right? This is
like,
this is
this is like wealthy money.
Pets.com money.
I don't even know what it is, but it is money beyond imagination. So we were given tickets to a game towards the end. Right now it's the end of the season. The Sacramento Kings did not have a great season. There was a Sunday that they didn't have ticket. They weren't going to go, so they gave me and my sister the tickets. So we go and we meet. Found a little friends and family hotel that's walkable distance to the arena in Sacramento. Met there, and all right. So we go into a separate VIP entrance that's not even at the arena. It's at a hotel next to the arena, and it's underground. Now, we walked there, but had we driven there, we would have driven down this tunnel into this thing, right?
This is the one the players use. This is like
the away like Aston
team.
Martins and just cars that Maseratis, and yes, it is like a player's entrance. So we go in, and it is the player's entrance. We go in a couple hours before, so the players are already there, so we're not entering with them. And you go through your typical, like, you got to scan your tickets, and they give you like this wristband, and the players go to one direction where I can see where the locker rooms are, and I can see straight ahead when we come in where the court is down the hall in front of us. They take us another direction where you're seated for a plated dinner in a little like restaurant kind of area. You sit wherever. You can have anything on the menu. You can have anything from the bar. you can have anything. Like names of these alcohols are like, I said to my sister before, like if Rob were here, he would definitely get the money's worth of alcohol. You probably would have gotten some scotch that's like
Oh my gosh.
$1,000 a glass kind of deal. It's all taken care of. You're paying for nothing when you walk in this door.
Right. It's all included. You paid
It's
for this.
all included.
It's the
And so
experience.
these are plated meals, and they have television, so they have other games that are going on that day because it was an evening game. And then we both had like a steak dinner, and there was like seafood, and they had like a whole sushi bar and a whole dessert bar, and they just bring you whatever you want. And what else would you like? And like the guys next to us sat down and they just ordered one of everything on the menu, and they just sat there and ate for 2 hours. And then they have this whole wall of candy. It's just these big gold bowls. All the candy. This is where I got the dark chocolate Kit Kat. And I didn't realize it was dark chocolate. I just grabbed one of them and put them in my bag. If I had seen it was dark chocolate, I would have grabbed more. But I mean, it's whole candies, pieces of candies. I was also talking, there's a big bowl of Andes. And I got this they give these little brown bags, and I filled it with Andes. And then I filled another one for Sarah. I mean, I bought a little souvenir to get an extra bag and fill it with candy. And like all the servers like, yes, get more. They like encourage you to do all this. So I'm carrying around like 20 pounds of candy in my bag to take home. Then they have a whole wall of boxes of popcorn, and then they have a whole wall of like water. And then we went to the seats, and we were sitting basically they were playing. It was Sacramento Kings home against the Clippers, the LA Clippers. I was sitting at the end of the Clippers bench, like chatting to the guys.
I saw the pictures. You were like, yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and give this dude some plays. Like, what's happening?
I took a picture of their huddle, and I'm like in the huddle. Like, it was so cool to listen to their coach talk to them and like diagram to them. And I'm like, oh gosh, okay. So that's how they talk about it in NBA. Like, these are professionals. Like when I coach kids, it's like, you gotta dribble the ball this way, like, right? And they're talking at an elevated level of what they're doing.
Super
like,
cool.
It's so interesting. It's so interesting. And then, I guess we were on TV a bunch based on where we were sitting. At one point, one of the dudes was flying at me, and I like had to duck away from him and stuff.
Gosh.
Like, it was wild. And then at halftime, you can go back to that little area, and you don't have to sit at your seats if you don't want to. Row one. We were row one. There's a lounge right next to the entrance we came in. You go from the restaurant to the lounge to the seats. So you can stay in the lounge. They have big televisions and couches and more like fridges of Cokes and Diet Cokes. And
right?
I mean, and then at halftime, you can go back and you can get anything from the concession stand. So like we had nachos and little mini pizzas and snacked on some more food, and then went back for the second half of the game. My gosh, what an experience.
Okay, I've got questions.
What an experience. Yeah.
When you're in an experience like this and you're looking around at the other people who this is like a normal weekend for them, what is that like? Because old like chip on my shoulder Rob is like, oh, those must just be the worst people.
No, I think there were more people like us who were like gifted tickets. I think the people we were sitting next to, they were like out with their cameras all the time too and stuff. But there are people who like go dressed up to every game. They're like dressed to the nines for every game. There are people who look like they're dressing casual, but you can see like the brand on their jeans is something you and I have never heard of, and are probably like $3,000 a pair of jeans.
Yep.
But everyone was really chill. I would say the ones that seemed a little less chill were like the teenagers who just seemed a bit pompous. But
sure. Privileged.
Privilege is probably a better word than pompous, but they still weren't like obnoxious. You could just tell they were used to this kind of lifestyle, and they acted as if they were used to that kind of lifestyle. But pretty much everyone was chill. And
didn't
what
spoil
surprised
anything.
me. No, what surprised me was that the servers were encouraging us. Yeah. Some people take the popcorn boxes and empty out the popcorn and just fill it with candy. Feel free to do any of that. They were like cheering us on. And at one point, this lady came by at halftime with these things of like gourmet ice cream. She's like, "You're my favorite people here today. You're really taking advantage of the fact that you have all this stuff here. Have some ice cream." Yeah, they were really cool. They were really,
I
really
love that
nice.
because it could have been the other way. Like, oh, look at these rubes.
Gosh, look at these.
Right.
These newbies.
Who did you go? I'm sorry, you probably said. Did you go with your sister?
Yeah.
Okay, that's awesome.
Yeah.
How fun.
It was fun. She had not been to one. Her husband and her brother-in-law, a different brother, were given tickets to a game before, but they were pretty hammered and they were like, we didn't walk back at halftime because it was so far. It wasn't far. They just were little inebriated.
They saw that menu. They saw that all you could drink menu, and they understood the assignment.
They understood these time, and I guess we could walk to any concession stand with the wristbands, and they would just give us whatever. So we could have done that too. But yeah, it was quite an experience, and I nerded out. Like, it's really cool to see an NBA game that close. It's really cool
Can't
to
imagine.
hear the
Yeah.
players talking about it when they come off the bench and stuff, and how they're taken care of. And we were noticing how right at my feet, I took a picture of my feet and all the Clippers gear because that's how close we were to everything.
Mm-hmm.
And in the picture,
Mm-hmm.
you can see some rows of Gatorades, and they have the numbers on it. And my sister's like, "Oh, they don't even share water bottles." I'm like, "No, what I'm telling you is the science of being an athlete right now is each one of those bottles is specifically formulated with pH and electrolytes that is specific to that athlete." She goes, "Oh." And I said, "Look at that cooler over there. You'll see them being refilled. They'll take out a bottle and they'll shake it. And some of it looks smoothie-like, and some of it looks water-like. And some of the players just had water bottles, just plain water without the Gatorade squeezy. But some of them are formulated based off their needs when they're in the game. Like, it is a crazy science that they
It
use
is.
now to take care of athletes."
That is absolutely true. It's funny that like being the water boy used to be like kind of a joke, like profession, and now it is absolutely this crazy science, exactly like you're talking about. Everything is exactly like, mixed and perfect for what
Yes.
that athlete is doing at that time. Like, oh, well, that person had a cold last week, so we've adjusted
Yep.
their entire hydration
Yep.
schedule and all that stuff. Like, it's crazy wild.
And the part that you don't see on television, so there's like 3 or 4 equipment guys. They are the hardest working people in the court.
Oh,
They are
yeah, I bet.
constantly picking up and folding gear and the new towels and getting rid of the old towels and going out and like wiping the floor after the timeouts and stuff. And then behind the bench, there are the sports medicine guys. So there was a couple of guys that came off the bench and they were handed this like heat therapy pad for around their hips or around their knees, and you don't see it because usually these guys are sitting back or they put like a towel over their leg because they're all sweaty and stuff. But they're given whatever it is they're ailing from to take care of their bodies when they're sitting on the bench and their bodies don't cool down so much. And then there were these pads. My sister's like, "What are all those pads? Like, they look like booster seats." I'm like, "They are booster seats. These guys are like 6 and 7 feet tall. They can't sit in a regular chair. So they have to sit
Otherwise,
on
their
2 or 3
knees would be
pads."
all jacked
Exactly.
up, and
So as they
that
sat
stretches
down,
your
she
lower
goes,
back.
"Yep." And she goes, "I get it now." It's wild to watch. It's really cool. It's actually
I bet
really
you saw
nerdy.
so many cool things like that. Like, I watch a lot of hockey, right? That's my
Yeah.
sport that I like. And I'm
Yeah.
always like looking to catch things like that on the bench with those equipment managers. Cause like same thing, like you'll see a guy, one of my favorites is like this dude comes out, he got high sticked, he's like bleeding by his eye, and he's like looking around and he like grabs a towel and he's about to put it up, and like this gloved hand comes out and like grabs his wrist. Like, no, 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 no. What are you doing? And like opens up his fanny pack with like
Yep.
actual sterile stuff to
Yeah.
help the guy
Yeah.
out. And it's like, oh yeah, back in the day, they were just wiping that on their jersey. They didn't care.
Right.
Now it's like, no, no, this is a big deal. You can't get an infection. You're
We
worth
can't afford you
millions
to
of
have an
dollars.
infection. Yeah. 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 It's crazy. Yeah. It was really cool. It was really nerdy, really cool, and an experience. So
I'm
I want to say
super happy
thank you
for
to
you. That
Heather
sounds
and my
amazing.
sister. Yeah,
That
it was
sounds
cool.
amazing. And you got to do it with your sister, which is super cool.
I did. Yeah. It's fun.
Right.
And then got to take candy back to my partner, and that candy is still lasting to this day because it's a gigantic bag of candy. So
Okay. So if you get the opportunity again, like bring a big backpack because there's going to be a lot of take home candy.
I would do it again, and I would pay attention if it's dark chocolate Kit Kats, which I haven't seen any in stores. Like, I need me more of that in my life.
Gosh. There's some
Okay,
billionaire in there that goes every week. He's like, you're not getting
make
my
sure I
you're not
have
getting
my
my
dark
season tickets
chocolate
next
Kit
year unless I got
Kats.
those dark chocolate Kit Kats.
But even like, what made us feel a little bit better is my sister was watching, and even like some of those super dress up people, one lady like walked up with her like jewel studded, probably $1 million purse, and she grabbed like 6 Starburst packs, full packs of Starburst, and stuffed them in her little purse and walked away. She's like, "Okay, I don't feel so bad now because even the people who are here all the time are doing it."
There
So,
you go.
um, all right, nerds. It's time for another fun and nerdy top 5. This time, our favorite fictional BFFs. It's gonna be a good episode.
Oh my gosh, can't wait.
Before you go, join us. Hit follow or subscribe so you don't miss what's next. If you felt the nerd love, drop us a 5-star rating and help more nerds find our people. Find us on social media at nerdbestfriends or email podcast@nerdbestfriends.com. Grow the nerd herd, spread the geeky joy, and we'll see you next week for episode 103. Thank you, Rob.
Thumbs up, Annalise.
All right, next week, nerds.